Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to tackle a question that's thrown at me more often than a frisbee at a dog park. Is the carnivore diet really sustainable? And my answer to that question, as a carnivore myself, just might surprise you. Or if you're already neck deep in your own nutritional bubble, it might make you spit out your kale smoothie. Today, I'll give you my take on the sustainability of the carnivore diet, as someone who's been on this diet for over 2.5 years. But we're not just talking steak and eggs here. No, we want to do a deep dive into the strange online world of nutritional tribalism. So get ready, because we're going to slaughter some sacred cows right here on the Carnivore Science Channel. All right, let's get serious here for a second. When people ask if the carnivore diet is sustainable, what they usually mean is one of three things. Number one, can you, a mere human, eat like this for the rest of your life without shriveling into a prune or developing scurvy? Spoiler, my scurvy levels are pretty low. My energy is through the roof. Number two, is it sustainable for the planet? Aren't you, boiling the oceans with your steak addiction? The environmental guilt. Number three, is it sustainable for society? If everyone ate like you, wouldn't we run out of, everything? And don't forget the cow fart apocalypse. It's important to remember. And here's the kicker. For me, the answer to each one of those questions is yes. But before you grab your pitchforks and start a protest outside my virtual window, we need to unpack why so many people in other nutrition tribes seem to have such a beef with that answer. If you're like most people, you've probably been told that eating meat, especially red meat, is an environmental catastrophe. That going plant-based is the only way to save the planet. And for us carnivores, that narrative often feels like a direct hit, not just on our diet, but on our integrity. It fuels the very nutrition tribalism that makes productive conversations impossible. The kind where someone hears carnivore and immediately thinks destroyer of worlds. But what if I told you that the truth about meat and the environment is far more nuanced than the headlines suggest? What if the conventional wisdom is missing a massive piece of the puzzle? And what if, from a carnivore's point of view, our approach to food could actually be part of the solution? Today, we're going to unpack the sustainability claims surrounding the carnivore diet, challenge some widely held beliefs, and expose how tribal thinking prevents us from having real, impactful discussions about our food system. Let's address the elephant in the room first, the big one. Meat is bad for the planet. We've all heard it. Cows produce methane, deforestation for grazing land, water usage, carbon footprint, etc. And yes, factory farming, as it exists today with its concentrated animal feeding operations, or CAFOs, and reliance on monocropped feed, does have some impact on the environment. I'm not here to deny that, but here's where the tribalism kicks in. This blanket condemnation of all meat, regardless of how it's raised, often ignores critical distinctions. It lumps regenerative grazing into the same category as industrial feedlots. It disregards the ecological benefits that properly managed livestock can provide. It's a convenient black and white narrative that fits neatly into the plant-based good, meat bad tribal dogma. And when you're caught in that tribal mindset, you stop asking critical questions like, what kind of meat? Is it industrial beef or regeneratively farmed beef? What are the alternatives? What's the environmental footprint of highly processed plant-based alternatives? What about soil health? How can animals actually improve ecosystems? This tribal thinking shuts down dialogue and prevents a deeper understanding of sustainable food systems. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin, the side that carnivores, particularly those who care about sourcing, are often passionate about: regenerative agriculture. This isn't just about being grass-fed. This is about a holistic approach to farming that actively improves the environment. Here's how. Number 1, soil health and carbon sequestration. Properly managed grazing animals like cows, sheep, and bison mimic natural migratory patterns. Their hooves distribute the soil, their manure fertilizes it, and their grazing encourages deep root growth in perennial grasses. This process significantly increases organic matter in the soil, which acts as a massive carbon sink, pulling CO2 from the atmosphere and storing it in the ground. This is the opposite of monocropping, which depletes soil and releases carbon. Number 2, biodiversity. Regenerative practices encourage a diversity of plant and insect life, creating richer ecosystems, fostering pollinators, and supporting wildlife. Number 3, water cycle. Healthy soils act like sponges, absorbing and retaining water, reducing runoff erosion and reliance on irrigation. Number 4, no need for monocropped feed. Animals raised on pasture, completing their life cycle on grass, don't require vast amounts of corn or soy production, which often involves pesticides, herbicides, and tilling that degrades the soil. Number 5, turning non-arable land into productive food sources. Much of the world's land is unsuitable for growing crops. These are often marginal lands that can only sustain grazing animals. To exclude animals from these areas means leaving vast tracts of land unproductive for human food. From a carnivore perspective, when we talk about eating meat, we're not just talking about any meat. We're often advocating for meat that comes from systems that heal the planet, not harm it. This crucial distinction is often lost in the tribal shouting matches. This is where the tribalism really gets in the way. While many vegans and plant-based advocates genuinely care about the environment, and many do fantastic work, the tribalistic elements often ignore or downplay the sustainability issues within their own chosen diet. Reliance on global supply chains, avocados from Mexico, almonds from California, massive water consumption there, soy from deforested Amazon, quinoa from South America, leading to economic issues for native populations. The carbon footprint of transporting these foods globally is immense. Highly processed plant-based alternatives, Beyond Burgers, Impossible Sausages, various vegan cheeses, these are often ultra-processed industrial products with long ingredient lists. Their production requires significant energy, processing, and often relies on monocropped ingredients. Are they truly more sustainable than regeneratively raised meat? Often the answer is no. Pesticide and herbicide use, large-scale vegetable and grain farming often relies heavily on synthetic chemicals that destroy soil health, pollute waterways, and harm biodiversity. The vegan imperative, the idea that everyone must go vegan, even if it means importing exotic produce or relying on highly processed foods rather than looking at locally sourced, environmentally positive animal agriculture. This isn't to say that all plant-based diets are unsustainable. Of course not. But the tribal insistence that only plant-based is sustainable while ignoring the nuances of how plants are farmed and transported is a form of cognitive dissonance fueled by tribal loyalty. It prevents a holistic, honest conversation about food systems. So why does a specific brand of nutritional tribalism around sustainability actually harm everyone, regardless of the diet? Well, one, it divides environmental advocates. Instead of uniting against truly unsustainable practices like industrial agriculture, food waste, or reliance on fossil fuels, we're fighting amongst ourselves about specific food groups. Number two, it distracts from the real solutions. The focus on meat is bad distracts from the urgent need to support and scale regenerative agriculture, which has the potential to sequester massive amounts of carbon and restore degraded land. Three, it spreads misinformation. Oversimplified narratives and emotional appeals replace scientific inquiry and nuanced understanding. Four, it prevents personal optimization. If you're shamed for considering animal products, even from regenerative sources, you might miss out on a diet that genuinely optimizes your health while also potentially supporting ethical and sustainable food production. 5, it stifles innovation. If the only acceptable solution is no meat, then innovation in sustainable animal agriculture is stifled. As a carnivore, my journey to this way of eating was about my own personal health transformation. But as I learned more, I realized the profound connection between the food that healed me and the land that sustains us all. I became passionate about regenerative agriculture not because I'm a carnivore, but because it simply makes sense, environmentally, nutritionally, and ethically. My call to action isn't to convert you to carnivore, but to challenge the tribal thinking that prevents us from having productive conversations about food and the environment. How about let's ask, how is this food produced? Not just what is this food? Does it contribute to soil health or depletion? What are the local and global impacts? Where did it come from? And how about we support farmers who are actively regenerating the land? Instead of blindly adhering to a dietary dogma, let's become food system critical thinkers. Let's appreciate that both plant-based and animal-based foods can be produced sustainably or unsustainably. Let's unite in supporting the farmers and practices that truly nourish both the people and the planet. So the next time someone tells you that the carnivore diet isn't sustainable, invite them to look a little deeper into regenerative agriculture and its importance to the planet. Invite them to look beyond the simplistic headlines and understand the incredible potential of animals to heal all of our ecosystems. Just something to think about. If you like this video, please consider leaving me a like, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.